Hey guys, Balas and Ramos, and this Sunday the Miami Dolphins defeated the Chicago Bears 35 to 32. Quite the shootout, if you ask me. Both teams, great game offensively, not so much defensively, but I think both teams really came in the clutch when it came to stopping each other, especially in the fourth quarter. Uh, some things to take away from Dolphins offensively, running game just needs to develop. On the other hand, Chicago Bears running game is there, and then on top of that, I just think the passing game needs to develop. I think, first game with Chase Claypool needed to get acquainted better, but career game out of Cole Kmet. I mean, who would have, who would have thought that going into this game? But actually, speaking of Cole Kmet, he was one of the early scorers for the Chicago Bears with his touchdown. Nice little play fake by Justin Fields and just scrambles a little bit and finds Cole Kmet for a nice 10-yard pass. Cole Kmet does the rest getting in the end zone. But the Dolphins weren't settled with that. Tyreek finally gets a red zone touchdown for Miami Dolphins, and he's flipping out about it. I mean, just having a blast. I mean, what a what a great shot of Tyreek. But I think this was a difference maker. Special teams, Jalen Phillips was able to get the block, and Andrew Van Ginkel takes it back 25 yards for the touchdown. I mean, that's how you do it. You got to get it on all phases. Defensively, I mean, Xavier Howard got shook here by Daniel Mooney, and he got some wheels just like Justin Fields. Will go to him in a second. But how about Tua rolling out and finding Jalen Waddle for an easy touchdown? But this is what I'm talking about. Justin Fields is just an absolute beast. He's so much faster than what you think you see on TV. When seeing it in person, I mean, he just has quite the burst. And shout out to that guy on the sideline, huh? And then one of the Dolphins' new additions, Jeff Wilson, comes up clutch, gets a third quarter touchdown, and that was the end of the scoring for the Miami Dolphins. But way to just keep your balance, extend for the pylon, and get those 6 points for the Miami Dolphins, which was very needed. Without those points, probably don't win the game. You could say the same thing for Black Punt. You could say that same thing for a lot of stuff. But honestly, this was one of the better games in terms of just viewing pleasure. It was great to see it with a bunch of friends and family. So shout out to everyone that I went to the game with. You guys, hope you guys had a blast. I had a blast. Quite some chirping at the end of the game with some Bears fan. If you guys are watching this, just know I love you. It was great and fun. But with that being said, some team stats. First downs, Miami Dolphins 21, Chicago Bears 23. Passing first downs, 15, Chicago Bears 7. This is what I'm talking about. Rushing first downs, 3 for the Miami Dolphins, 15 for the Chicago Bears. Heavy running team, not so much passing. Flip side, offensively for the Miami Dolphins. First down from penalties, Dolphins had 3. One of them was a PI in the end zone, which set up the first touchdown for Raheem Mostert, first touchdown scorer for the game. And, Bears got one first down from penalties. Third down efficiency, both teams not so great on third down. Dolphins 5 for 10, 50%. Chicago Bears had a little bit better success, 10 of 16, but a lot of third downs for them. 16 third downs is a lot, but able to convert about 30, 60% of the time, a little bit under 60%. Not so bad. Fourth down efficiency, bad for the Dolphins. 0-2. Chicago Bears 1-2. Fourth down wise. Total plays, Dolphins had 53 total plays. Chicago Bears had 70. Now, if you guys aren't familiar, this is nothing new to the Dolphins. A couple weeks ago when they played the Buffalo Bills in Miami, Bills had like 90 plays. Dolphins just had, I believe, within the 40s, and were able to squeak out a win. And that was just mostly because they were just trying to throw the ball a lot, and just Josh Allen just wasn't having a good day. This time, the Chicago Bears just ran the ball, and it also just bled into time of possession. I know it doesn't seem like it just because it's 25 minutes for the Dolphins, 14 seconds, and 34 minutes, 46 seconds for the Bears. That's a 10-minute gap of offensive time. And this is what I'm alluding to with the rushing game. Rushing game is great, but there needs to be a better complementary passing game for the Chicago Bears team. I think they have a really good talent with Justin Fields there. Great runner, great, just elusive type of quarterback. Just needs to find more open guys, or guys needs to get a little bit more separated for his receivers. But guy can't do it all. You need some help, and hopefully for the Bears, Chase Claypool is one of those guys that can help. Total yards, Dolphins 379, Chicago Bears 368. Total drives, Dolphins 9, Bears 10. Yards per play, Dolphins average 7.2. Meanwhile, the Bears average 5.3. Passing 302, Miami Dolphins 116 for the Chicago Bears. We'll get into more of those type of stats when we go over the players. But red zone attempts, Miami Dolphins had 6, converted on 4 of them. Chicago Bears had 4, converted on 3. And penalties, Dolphins had 3 penalties for 38 yards. Chicago Bears had 4 penalties for 92 yards. That's a lot of yards. All right. Let's go over individual stats. Tua had himself quite the game. Leading up almost into halftime, Tua was 9 of 9 for 110 yards. 2 touchdowns by that point, if I'm not mistaken. No, he had 1 touchdown. That was the one to Tyreek. But just quite the game for Tua. 21 of 30, 302 yards, average of 10 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no sacks. Just really good game. Loving the passing game right now. I'll talk about the running game in a second. Justin Fields, 17 of 28, 123 yards, but total turned into 116 due to 2 sacks for a loss of 7 yards, but 3 touchdowns. Passing. Yeah, 3 touchdowns passing. And, yeah. So, how I said Dolphins need to put more pressure, especially with this new trade for Bradley Chubb, and pressure a guy who, like Justin Fields, who's been getting pressured a lot, getting brought down a lot, if not just getting hit in the backfield a lot. Dolphins failed to do that. But I got to give more credit to Justin Fields because he was able to escape, and we'll talk about that in literally after the Dolphins rushing. Jeff Wilson led the Dolphins rushing, 9 carries, 51 yards, longest of 28. Raheem Mostert, 9 carries, 26 yards, 1 touchdown, longest of 14. 2 of 5 carries for no yards. Longest was 4, though. And then Chicago rushing, Justin Fields, 15 carries, 178 yards, 1 touchdown. It was a 61-yard rushing yard touchdown. That's what I'm saying. Just was able to escape, and it was a nice play. He faked defender and then just took off, and he had open grass all straight in front of him. It was just quite the sight to see, and he was really fast. I want to see what his ball carrier speed was on that one, because definitely in the 20s, I can tell you that. David Montgomery was after Justin Fields, 14 carries, 36 yards. Khalil Herbert, 7 carries, 23 yards. Cole Kmet, 2 carries, 9 yards. Chase Claypool, 1 carry, 4 yards. Darnell Mooney, 1 carry, 2 yards. In terms of receiving for the Miami Dolphins, Tyreek did it again. He broke 100 yards. He had 7 receptions, 143 yards off of 8 targets, 1 touchdown, longest of 39. Jalen Waddle, 5 receptions, 85 yards, 1 touchdown, longest of 26, which I believe... No, it wasn't a touchdown. Trent Sherfield, 3 receptions, 27 yards. Cedric Wilson, 2 receptions for 23. Jeff Wilson, 3 receptions, 21 yards, 1 touchdown. Mike Gesicki, 1 reception for 3 yards. It's really sad seeing, Mike Gesicki finding himself big role in the offense, little role in the offense. But I guess it's some matchups that you get. But with Chicago trading away Roquan and Robert Quinn previously, I know he doesn't really drop back as much, but I think they should have tried to attack that. But the way Tua was passing the ball, he was just waiting for Tyreek and Waddle just get right behind linebackers and just throw darts. And there was one specific play, hopefully I can bring it in, that Tua it sucked that Waddle didn't catch his ball. He kind of bobbled it and it just flew out of his hands. But Tua just dropped it where only Waddle can get it. Like literally in between 2 Bears defenders. Both of them could have got a hand on it, but it only ended up in Waddle's hands. Unfortunately, Waddle just couldn't bring it in. Receiving for the Chicago Bears, Darnell Mooney, 7 receptions, 43 yards, 1 touchdown, long of 16. And that was quite the touchdown. It was really nice. And it was in the end zone that we were sitting by, so that was cool. Cole Kmet, 5 receptions, 41 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, I'm telling you, career day for Cole Kmet, and probably sitting on a lot of people's benches, if not their waiver wires. Sucks. Chase Claypool, 2 receptions, 13 yards off of 6 targets. This is what I'm talking about. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, Chase Claypool just didn't have a good debut for the Chicago Bears, but, give it time. Give it time. I think he'll be a good addition for the Chicago Bears offense. Dante Pettis, 1 reception, 12 yards. And David Montgomery, 1 reception, 8 yards. N'Keal Harry, 1 reception, 6 yards. St. Brown was targeted twice, could not bring in the ball. Tua fumbled the ball. Luckily, he recovered it. Defensively, Landon Roberts led the team with 9 total tackles, 5 solo. Next was Kader Kohu, 8 total, 8 solo. Just what a beast. I mean, there was one specific play that he just shredded up a wide receiver screen, and it was to Chase Claypool and just did not let him get any yardage, barely, if any. Eric Rowe, 7 total tackles, 6 solo. Now let's get into some key stats. Christian Wilkins had a tackle for a loss. Jalen Phillips had a QB hit. Melvin Ingram had a sack, tackle for a loss, QB hit. Duke Riley had a sack, tackle for a loss. Keon Crossan had a pass deflection. And that's about it for the key stats, except for Andrew Van Ginkel with a touchdown. We'll talk about that in a second. Chicago Bears, Kyler Gordon, what a stud for the Bears. 8 total tackles, 7 solo. Jack Sanborn had 7 total, 7 solo. Eddie Jackson, 7 total, 6 solo. And then some key stats. Jaylon Johnson had a pass deflection, so did Nicholas Morrow. Angelo Blackson had a QB hit, and so did Mike Pennell Jr. And that's about it for key stats defensively for the Chicago Bears. No interceptions on both sides. Raheem Mostert had a kick return for 18 yards, and Khalil Herbert had a kick return for 30 yards. Cedric Wilson had a punt return for 8. Dante Pettis had a punt return for 2 yards. Jason Sanders missed a field goal. That was very unfortunate, but went 5 for 5 on extra points, so good job there. Cairo Santos had 1 field goal, 3 extra points. Thomas Morstead had 1 punt, 51 yards. Trenton Gill had 2 punts he had 3 punts. 2 punts for 83 yards, long of 46. Morstead's longest was 51. And one of his punts, Trenton Gill, was blocked for the touchdown, and that was quite the play. So, for all that out of the way, great win for the Dolphins. Wish a little bit more of a defensive presence, but man, I mean, you there's things you can and can't teach, and you can't teach speed. Dolphins got speed with Waddle and Hill. Bears have speed with Justin Fields, and when he's a guy who's getting the ball right away, he has all control of the offense. There were a few plays that, if he just holds it for another second and finds an open guy, defense could have made a different play. But, it kept them honest. They knew the run game was a big part of the scheme for the Bears. And I feel like they couldn't find an answer, which was very unfortunate because, you want to see your team do as well as possible. But with that being said, I mean, can't complain. But you always want to see things that they can improve on. So offensively, looking very good. Would love to see the running game just develop a little bit more. But love the addition of Jeff Wilson. Just a guy who knows the system very fast. And has sure hands. He was able to catch balls out of the backfield, one of them turning into a touchdown. And then on top of that, just like I said, defensively, you just want to see a little bit more consistency. You want to see turnovers happening. This is something that Dolphins have been straying away from. In the couple of years past, Dolphins were able to force turnovers almost every game. And literally, I wasn't sure if it was 2019 or 2020 that the Dolphins forced a turnover every game almost the entire season. So, I want to see this Dolphins team get back to that. But, as long as they're winning games, as long as they're holding out when it matters most, because last week, same thing, they limited the Detroit Lions to 50 yards in the second half when they had almost 300 in the first. This game was just back and forth. And, big plays by both teams. It was a very, very, very fun game. Love Soldier Field. It's a dope place to watch the game. And not much else to say there. Big, not big stretch, but there's quite a couple of games coming down the line for the Miami Dolphins. Before I go into that, let's talk about the standings, because Buffalo dropped the game because New York Jets beat them. Things are tightening up in the AFC. So who knew this would probably be the best division in football? We have Buffalo 6-2, New York Jets 6-3, Dolphins 6-3 as well. Jets have the tiebreaker because of the head-to-head matchup. New England Patriots 5-4, only winning division in all of NFL. Then we have the Minnesota Vikings for the NFC North 7-1. Both Green Bay and Chicago 3-6. I wouldn't have thought about that with Green Bay heading into the season, but it's looking that way. And then the Detroit Lions got a big win. I forgot who they were playing, but they got a big win. Let's see, against Packers, yeah. But yeah, big win for the Lions. But Dolphins have quite the stretch. They have the Browns and Texans at home, and then they hit their bye week. And then they hit the bye week after the Browns. Then they have the Texans still at home. They go on the road to the 49ers and the Chargers. I'm not sure if they're going to be staying in the West Coast or not. And then as the season's starting to dwindle down in the last 4 games, Buffalo Bills, Packers, Patriots, Jets. Things are going to be tough. Those last 4 games are not going to be easy. Necessarily right after the Texans game, this is going to be the prove-it time for the Miami Dolphins. Luckily, they're getting wins right here, right now, and competing with teams and coming out on top. But you want to see a little bit more domination from this Dolphins team. If you want to see them become a playoff team, they got to put some teams in the dirt. And unfortunately, they haven't really been able to do that. A lot of games have been close. Aside from the Patriots game, every game was a one-possession win. And you want to see a little bit more from this Dolphins team, but they're about to give me a heart attack. Just about. It's just Chicago food. Not sure. But either way, it was awesome to see the Dolphins play in Soldier Field and see the Bears back in Hard Rock Stadium in 4 years. With that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.